I'm Kim Garcia. I'm from the Postal Mail Handlers Union. I want to let you know that all of our unions need to come together across the country to stop this eradication of the middle class. Every single fight for our jobs is a fight to retain living wages. And instead of giving them to the to wages like Walmart and poverty wages like Staples offers, it is important that we all get out there to fight for our jobs and fight for the middle class and fight for the American people that deserve their post office.
Hear, hear.
I'm Farley Staley, Local 10 Secretary Treasurer, and we cannot, in this country, keep letting unions die. We got to support each other, and we got to keep good paying jobs union. It's what built this city, and we got to come together and fight for it.
Hey, my name is Frank Gaskin, ILW Local 10 Business Agent. We got the San Francisco chapter of the U.S. Postal Workers come to our union hall every month for their union meetings, and I'm here in support of union labor workers. Staples can kiss my ass.
What are Staples and the USPS trying to hide? Plenty. The U.S. Postal Service and Staples are working overtime to keep the details of their sweetheart deal a secret. But on April 1st, a hearing before the National Labor Relations Board and documents, the USPS was forced to turn over to the American Postal Workers Union paperwork that has revealed some very troubling facts. Okay? But the document hides more than it illuminates. Most of the significant details in the approved postal provider pilot agreement, that's what it is redacted. Redacted, that means it is blanked out. Customers think twice. Staples and the USPS management are perpetrating a fraud on the people of this country. That's what the APW president, Mark Dimenstein, quotes. They are promoting the deal as though taking your mail to Staples is the same as taking it to the post office. It is not. It is not the same. The 58-page agreement outlining the deal between the USPS and Staples should make customers think twice before turning over their mail to Staples. A heavily redacted version of the agreement between the USPS and Staples and testimony at the April 1st hearing before the National Labor Relations Board revealed the following. Packages dropped at Staples stores will be placed in unsecured containers. Packages and letters at Staples stores are not considered mail until they are picked up by the Postal Service. That means they don't enjoy the protection of the U.S. mail. Staples is getting a discount on postal products, but customers are still going to pay the full price. Even us postal employees, we don't get no discounts. We're just like everyone else. Staples, low-paid, high-turnover employees get just 4 hours of classroom training for postal retail duties. APW favors expanding services. Woohoo! Thank you! But postal services must be provided by highly trained uniformed employees of the U.S. Postal Service, whether it's at the post office or at Staples. Postal retail clerks, this is U.S. Postal Federal Government employees. Postal Federal clerks receive 32 hours of intense classroom training, followed by 40 hours of on-the-job training, alongside an experienced window clerk and a mentor. USPS employees learn all the intricacies necessary to provide expert customer service and the postage needed for various classes of mail and for mail of various sizes and shapes, how quickly letters and packages can be expected to arrive at their destination, how to screen for hazardous materials that should not be mail, etc. Okay, and this training doesn't end there. It continues throughout their career. Postal workers must pass the test before they are considered qualified to work the window. Before they are hired, USPS employees undergo a background check, take an oath to protect the security of and safety of the mail, and are bound by a code of ethics. And we do go through a thorough FBI background check. The USPS employees answer to the American public. We're accountable to them. Is the Staples privatization. The Postmaster General, the PMG, states that it's an expansion plan and that he's not planning to privatize. Postmaster General is completely dishonest. This is what the union's position is. On April 1st, in the hearing before the Labor Board, it revealed how completely dishonest the PMG Patrick Donahoe has been about the purpose of Postal Service's deals with Staple. APWU President Mark Diamonstein said the following: the Postmaster General has repeatedly rejected union charges that opening postal counters in Staples stores and staffing them with low-wage Staples employees constitutes privatization. In January 19th, the Associated Press article, Donahoe is quoted as saying, "The privatization discussion is a ruse. We have no interest in privatizing the post office." But on 2014, internal USPS documents that was presented at the NLRB hearing show that management is indeed seeking to privatize window clerk duties to replace living wage jobs with low-wage jobs and high turnover non-union staple jobs. The Postal Service approved Shipper Plus pilot program. The memo is clear. This is what part of the memo that wasn't blanked out. The pilot will be used to determine if low cost can be realized with retail partner labor instead of labor traditionally associated with retail windows at the post office. So on and so forth. Transferring USPS product and service transactions to retail partner locations should allow the USPS to cut costs associated with window labor time and credit card transaction fees.
Cut his head off. Forget cutting costs.
So this goes on and on and on, okay? And what I want to tell you is the big purpose behind Staples is we are requesting that to protect the sanctity of the mail that they put U.S. uniformed federal employees that have to rely on over 200 federal regulations to protect that mail behind those counters in those stores. Expand the hours at the post office. Put vending machines back at the post office. Staff adequately at the post offices so we give the public the service that they deserve. And this is a non-profit public federal service. It's not for profit. Going to Staples and privatizing is now going to make it for profit, and it will not benefit the public. It's not for sale! Not for sale!
So, just so you know, they're going to sign a citizen's arrest. So if someone goes in there, you're going to be arrested.
Right, we're not going to.
Again, you're federal employees. I don't want to do that, but we are in the middle. You understand that? So you need to stay out of the store.
Yeah, we
Okay?
agree. We're not asking anyone to go in the store.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not for sale! It's not for sale! It's not for sale! Ho ho! Must prevail!
My name is Ronald Ramirez, and I was a worker in San Francisco, Steiner Station.
And you've written a book about life in the post office, kind of a drama. What is life in the post office like these days?
Well, when I was a carrier, sometimes there was a lot of harassment from management, and what I wrote is about a character who had problems at home, and when he came to work and he's being harassed, the supervisor doesn't realize what he's doing to that person, and the dangers that happens. There's in a 10-year span, there was 40 incidents of shootings in the post office, and the post office never did anything to really help the situation. Sometimes a lot of supervisors think picking on people was really funny, and they don't know sometimes that the person they're picking on can be dangerous to them, and that's why those things happen.
So are you saying that workplace bullying in the post office and harassment is a common practice?
It is for some supervisors, not all supervisors, but for some of them, that's their tactic of working. Supervisors get extra pay for more money for more mail that you move. So they make you count the mail, and they count the mail, and they'll lie to you about how much mail you have, and you counted it. You're not stupid. You know how to count. And then they'll try to get you to move more mail for less time. And if they can do that, and they have a budget every month, if they keep under budget, they get a bonus. So it's to their advantage personally to make you move more mail in less time. And a lot of times they don't care where the mail goes, how it gets delivered, just get it out the door and deliver it. And they'll put people on the routes that don't know the route. They don't give them a chance to check people that have moved or anything like that. And if you make a mistake and deliver the wrong mail, then it's your problem. But if they catch you checking like you're supposed to, then you're in trouble for wasting time. So it's their tactics that, you never can win, because you're trying to do a good job for the customer, and you can't do a good job for the customer because the management doesn't give you the time that's needed to do the job the way they describe it for you to do, because they're trying to make money personally. And that's where the problems come in. And when somebody's being harassed, big management doesn't come in and tell the supervisor to stop. They just think it's funny. They'll do things that just is unethical from person to person. If you were somewhere else and somebody treated you like that, you would be very angry, and you don't know what's in a person when you're treating somebody bad. And because when you're working, your hands are tied behind your back, and you have to say yes sir, no sir, whatever it is, what they're telling you. Nobody's scared of the work. People will work if you let them work. But nobody wants to be harassed, bullied, lied to, and humiliated in front of other people while you're doing it.
Now, is there a serious problem of injuries, workplace injuries in the post office because of these working conditions?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of injuries, and when you get injured, depending on what happens. There's a lot of injuries in the post office, and a lot of times if you get injured, it's your fault. That's the way they look at it sometimes. And
so they blame the worker.
They blame the worker. They're always, like we had one lady who got hurt, and she thought, I'm not hurt that bad, I'll just keep working. And because she kept working, later on it started feeling worse. And because she kept working, it's her fault. She should have stopped. But then if you stop, and you're not hurt that bad, then you feel stupid, because you're going to get harassed. So it causes a lot of problems, the harassment. But injuries, yes, a real high amount of injuries in the post office.
And we're here in front of a Staples. There's a sign, United States Office Approved Postal Provider. What's going on here?
It's just a way to cut out the union workers. They're trying to always bring in people to work without having to pay a higher wage that was negotiated in contracts. So what they do is they bring people in outside, pay them less, don't train them, and then take jobs away from postal employees that do have the skills and the union backing and what they've negotiated for.
And your book, what's the book story line or plot?
Well, the plot is about a character, like I said, who has problems at home, but he's committed murder. He's trying to hide his life. He's trying to hide his life while being a post office employee, and the boss is picking on him at the same time. His mind is going 100 miles an hour, trying to cover up everything that he did wrong. And so that's what makes him dangerous, because they keep picking on him, browbeating him. But he has other things on his mind besides just what's being done to him. So that's what makes the book a little intense, and it has a lot of things that happen in the post office, kind of a little changed up, and different characters are all made up, of course. But
and what's the name of the book?
It's called Gone Postal.
And what do postal workers say who've read it?
I've had great reactions from it. Everybody has dealt with the harassment. So a lot of carriers that I talk to, they're pleased that somebody's talking about the harassment and the other side of it, the other side. And postal employees, they do some things that are unethical too. So it's all in them, So that's basically what.
My name is Marianne Medina. I am the president of the San Francisco APW retiree chapter. Postal worker for 28 years, postal retiree for 22 years. And I'm here trying to help protect our jobs, to keep our jobs from being privatized, because I'm worried about the future of our kids and grandkids, that they may not have a living wage job that they can count on. But this Staples deal was done very quietly. Started in March with their meetings, postal workers management, Donahue, the Postmaster General, had quiet meetings with Staples, and they didn't tell anybody anything. In November, they quietly started putting Staples with Postal Services. In October, they even had ribbon cutting ceremonies, and then all of a sudden, we wake up and there's Postal Services there, but they're not staffed by postal workers who have sworn an oath to the sanctity of the mail. We get fingerprinted. They should be uniformed postal employees if they're going to have a postal service and call it postal service in Staples stores. And the thing that we're worried about is this is just a slippery slope towards privatization. Postal Service is not for profit, and is service for the people. And we've had it all the time, but there's so many things that have happened in the past that nobody has really looked at. They're just kind of doing it behind the scenes. And so we are asking people to please help us stop this in California. We have to stop it in California because the 84 stores that are in the states that they're doing the pilot program, if we don't win this protest, 1,600 stores around the country are going to have postal services. How many jobs is that? Living wage jobs with benefits that are going to be given to 1,600 stores of Staples. We have to stop it, and we have to stop it here in California.
My name is Alan Menjivar. I'm the Staples campaign organizer out of San Francisco Bay Area.
And what is going on here at Staples, and why is this issue important not only to postal workers but the public at large?
Today we're celebrating the National Day of Action nationwide, and we're here to protest the partnership between the United States Postal Service and Staples. We are very concerned if this deal moves forward, this could lead into the end of the Postal Service. And of course, more stores will merge into the partnership, and we are very concerned that our retail postal clerks will lose their jobs, will eventually be phased out.
And what's driving this effort to go over to Staples and other private companies? Who's doing it?
The United States Postal Service is actually signed up a partnership pilot program with Staples. It's a 6-month period. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. We don't know exactly how good it's going to be for them. We are waiting to have some documents that we requested through National right now. So we don't know but we do know that the pilot program goes in, 1,500 stores across the country will join in, and pretty much, everything will be privatized as far as the retail window stores.
So you see this as part of the privatization of public services?
This is the first step of privatization, yes. In Canada, there's also motions to stop the door-to-door delivery right now. So they're already fighting that. We were in a conference in Chicago and actually spoke with the national president of Canada asking for our support of the United States America postal unions, and we are supporting them too. They're going to eliminate the door-to-door services. They're going to cut off the services, all the standards in Canada. So instead of having door-to-door delivery, they'll have maybe a building with 1,000 addresses and deliver the mail into those buildings, and people will have to drive out there. The main problem in Canada right now for the senior citizens that are disabled, how can they go to these locations to pick up their mail? So they're not thinking about that. And this is it's the fight in Canada, and it's a fight all over the world because actually they're trying to privatize the postal service in a lot of different countries. It was a bill passed, endorsed by Darrell Issa, to reduce from 6-day to 5-day delivery. Right now it's on hold. There were a lot of sales of buildings across the country, historical buildings, the pre-fund for the retirement, 75 years in advance on a 10-year window, $5.5 billion every year. So all these financial hardships pretty much has been fabrication of the financial hardship. Merging with Staples is not going to solve anything. We're asking people to sign a petition online or to text our number through our cards. We're asking people to sign a postcard that will be addressed to the CEO of Staples, pretty much to send a message to him that we're totally against privatization.